Hey guys, a few months ago I released a video on a self-hosting solution called Umbrel. And basically Umbrel is a kind of a user interface that allows you to easily manage Docker containers. If you're not familiar with Umbrel, you could kind of think of it more like Casa OS, but more with a crypto spin to it. Here recently, the folks behind UmbrelOS reached out to me and asked if I would be interested in taking a look at the new hardware that they've put together with their UmbrelOS on it. And that's what we're going to take a look at in this video, is the Umbrel hardware. So let's take a look at that on my desktop just over here to my left. So this is the box, as you can see, and it's very muted as far as the aesthetic is concerned. Just a nice gloss overlay there, not much on any of the other sides, a little bit on the bottom, but nothing too interesting there in my opinion. Now I have had this open and I've taken a look at this, but this is the device. We're actually going to set that aside for just a moment because we want to take a look and see what's in the box. Of course, first things first, we get our little fold out there with the instructions on it. It's blowing out. Sorry you can't see that. We're also going to get a couple of extra accessory boxes here. This one is going to be our power brick. It is going to be a USB Type-C, like you can see right there. Let me see. It is 12 volts and 2,500 milliamps, so about 30 watts. That's what we're going to be doing here, again, through that USB-C power delivery there. And then they were super nice and even went so far as to include an Ethernet cable, just a little short stubby guy, about a foot long, third of a meter if you're anywhere that uses the metric system, which is of course most everywhere. So that's our accessories. We're going to take everything else and set that aside. And this is the box. That's how big it is. It is super, super tiny. Fits right in the palm of my hand there. It's got this wrap on it. We're going to go ahead and get this peeled off. Maybe. There we go. Whoops. And then it's all hooked up in there. Screw it. We're just going to tear it off. There we go. All right. So there is the top. Again, it's got that very muted aesthetic, which I actually really dig. On the front, we get a power button. Simple enough. Not much on either of the other two sides. We got some USB 3s on this side, some ventilation to go through here on both sides. And then on the back, we get a power delivery port, that USB-C, and a 1 gig Ethernet port. And that's it. That is the entire thing here. And we're going to get into talking about prices and availability and things like that. I will say that I am a bit disappointed that there's not any kind of display output on this device. I'm afraid that at some point, and I hate to kind of bring the bad news on early here, I feel like this is going to be very quickly e-waste. Not because there's anything wrong with it, but because there's no display port on it. There's no display out on it, whether it's display port or VGA or HDMI or even USB-C with display port. There's none of that on there that I can see. And without that, once this has reached end of life, it can't really be repurposed to be used as something else. This seems to be very kind of stuck, and again, I don't necessarily like that word, but this is an Umbrel device, and that's it. So let's do this. Let's actually jump over to their website and take a look at what the specs of this device are. Okay, so here we are. Let me get this kind of back over where it belongs here. Okay, so here we are on Umbrel.com, and it says, "Are you ready to own your own data?" And if we scroll down, it's one of those scrolly pages, and again, they kind of give you the whole thing here. And right there, you can see that price of $600. And I have mixed feelings on that we'll get into, but we're going to scroll down. We can kind of get an idea of what that's going to look like when it's lit up. Today, all of your data is being stored on servers owned by large corporations, and these guys want to give you the opportunity to not have your data auctioned off to the highest bidder. So anyway, we're going to keep scrolling down. It's time to take back control. That's great. And then we can kind of get into here, own your own data truly, privacy uncompromised, tailored to you, by you, break free and save, accelerated performance, and rainy day resilience are all topics available on this little section here. And if we scroll down here, we can see what the board inside will look like. We've got a 2.9 gigahertz quad core CPU that is powered by an Intel N5105, and that's a bit of an older processor. There are newer chips out there. I don't know how long this has been in production, but of course, now we've got, the N95, the N100 for these low TDP Intel chips. So going with the 5105, I think it's going to be outdated much sooner. Next to that, over here, we've got 16 gigs of dual channel RAM in here, but we can see that has been soldered on there. So there's no chance to update that in the future or at all, because again, it's soldered on there. Of course, the CPU is soldered on there. If we keep scrolling down, it's going to bring us over to the back. And of course, here we can see we get our 1 gig Ethernet port. We get a 2 terabyte SSD in there. Of course, that's an NVMe drive. And we get 3 USB 3.0 ports for peripherals, things like that. Let's keep scrolling down. There, we're going to see our cooler, what that looks like. And again, it does have that 10 watt TDP, which I appreciate, which means this is going to run real quiet. Shouldn't run too warm, shouldn't be an issue, other than, again, it is that 5105 from Intel, which is a bit older. So let's keep scrolling down. So basically, our instructions are connect to your home router, power it up, and then wait about 30 seconds, and then you should be able to visit umbrel.local. So let's do this. So now that we've kind of taken a look at the physical device here, I should show that side, I suppose. We've taken a look at the website and talked about the specs a little bit. Again, I am a bit disheartened by that price, but this will probably be a small run. I don't imagine they're going to sell millions of these. And when you do small runs, of course, the price per unit goes up, and they of course have to pay for the manufacturing of all of the different parts of the hardware. They've got to pay their developers. They've got to pay their overhead. They've got to pay for all kinds of different things. So that is one of the downsides to doing a small production run. And when I say small, I mean, sorry, let me get this out of the way. When we're talking about laptops from, HP and Asus or whoever's making laptops these days, they usually do runs of millions and millions and millions, which helps them bring their cost per device down. But because we're not doing huge production runs like that with this, we're going to end up paying a bit more of a premium to cover the cost of the run. So, I think that's enough of me griping about the price and the slightly out of date hardware as far as the chip that's in it. So let's go ahead and plug in the USB port, or the USB-C port for power, and the Ethernet port, and we'll wait 30 seconds and we'll go to umbrel.local and see what happens. Okay, so I have gone ahead and plugged in the device. Looks like we've already got a light there. I don't know if that is already on. I push the button, nothing happens. Okay, that turned it off. So when you plug it in, it's going to automatically turn on. So when press and hold, that light came back on. So now I guess we'll come back here in about 30 seconds once this is hopefully booted up. Okay, so that was actually really, really fast. That was not 30 seconds. So I guess well done on that. So okay, it says right here, let's get started. So we're going to click start. It wants my name and my password. So let's go ahead and put those in. And we'll click create. Okay, congratulations, that's it. You're all set. That was super easy. So we're gonna click next. And here is, it says, good afternoon, DB Tech. Umbrel 0.5.4 is now available. So the folks over at Umbrel reached out after this device had shipped to me, and they were excited to work with me and all that sort of thing. But they also made sure to tell me to do the update. Wow, sorry, while I was talking, it timed out really fast. So like 30 seconds, and it timed back out for security reasons, obviously. So anyway, they wanted me to, they were very specific in telling me to run the update because it was a big update since the device was shipped with its current operating system. So let's take a look and see what it looks like to do an update on the device. So we're gonna come back over to here, gonna put in my password. All right, so I'm gonna click on View right here. This update introduces a completely reimagined app store, so that's big. Crafted to provide a sleek and intuitive experience as you discover the latest self-hosted apps for your Umbrel. The new Migration Assistant feature enables seamless transfer of your data and apps from a Raspberry Pi-based Umbrel, so I dig that, to the new Umbrel Home in one click. That's really cool if that works. I don't actually have Umbrel set up at this point right now, so I won't be doing that, but I like that that could possibly work. Complementing these enhancements are various performance improvements, bug fixes, and subtle refinements, such as the option to update your display name directly from the settings. If you face any issues, please message us on Telegram with that. So I'm going to click Install Now. It's starting the update. So cool. It's just going to run and do its thing here in the background. We're just going to hang out and see what happens.
A few moments later.
All right. It says the update was successful. So now it's starting back up. We're going to go ahead and put in our password again. All right. So install your first app. We can do Bitcoin nodes. Of course, they've got these broken down for the Bitcoiner, for the self-hoster, for the streamer. I love that they've kind of got them broken down like this. I also love that Tailscale is in here. I've covered Tailscale in a previous video. I'm still getting used to this new setup that I'm trying here. I've talked about Tailscale in the past. In fact, somebody's actually suggested another bit of content relating to that this may actually come into play on later, but I like that Tailscale is there so that we do have a remote proxy, a reverse proxy of sorts, a way to access it remotely without having to do port forwarding or anything like that. Of course, we got Plex, Jellyfin, transmission, sonar, radar. I love sonar and radar, use those all of the time along with Plex. Of course, we've got our little taskbar down here of Home, App Store, Settings, Light Mode, which is, that's awful. Nothing against them. I just hate light mode. I prefer dark mode. And then we can log out. So right now we are on Home. So let's actually come over here to the App Store and take a look here. Okay, so now they've got, you discover all apps, files, and productivity, Bitcoin, finance, media, networking, social, home and automation, AI, developer tools, and there's probably more. I can't scroll over there, but below that, we've got the ultimate interface for ChatGPT, say goodbye to Figma, and self-host your own design and prototyping tools. So those are kind of their featured apps right now. We've got new apps. We've got, looks like Nostr. I'm sure I'm screwing that up. Overseer, Penpot, again, Chatpad AI, Mealy. I think we've talked about Mealy in the past. Bazaar for managing subtitles for your sonar and radar stuff. LibreSpeed, Homebridge, QBitTorrent. I don't think that's the right the right icon for that, but it is what it is. Let's see, below that we've got some popular in-demand stuff. Again, another Bitcoin node rather. This Nostr relay. Pi-hole, we've talked about Pi-hole in the past. We've installed that. Nextcloud, Plex, Jellyfin. These are all the popular stuff. Lightning nodes, Home Assistant, and Mempool. Again, that's more Bitcoin stuff. Curated for you, again, Tailscale, Uptime Kuma. We've covered, love Uptime Kuma. So they got all kinds of different stuff in here that's all broken down into different categories. I love that. I think that's great. Let's click on all apps. Here we go. We've talked about some of these in the past as well. File browser, we've talked about Gitee or Gitee, I suppose is probably the right way to pronounce that. Heimdall, we've talked about. Home Assistant, I did a video on that I was never really happy with. Image, we talked about relatively recently. Jellyfin, I think we talked about a long time ago. And it looks like we're starting to get more into some crypto stuff. Node-RED, I did a video on Node-RED, not the Bitcoin version, but man, they've got all kinds of stuff in here. Photo Prism, we've talked about. Plex, Pi-hole, Radar, Sonar, Remina, I think we've talked about as well. So these are all super common, which I dig. So let's go over here. Let's find Pi-hole. I know I scrolled back past it like multiple times here. Let's just click Pi-hole. And okay, so then it expands out and gives us kind of, some general ideas. Those scroll back and forth about this app. We've got what version it is, things you might also like if you're going to run this, the version, the source code, which all of these link off to their respective URLs. And then right up here, we've got the option to install. and it's just installing. Right there is our default password. I'm going to copy that so we've got it. I'm going to give this just a second. Man, I hope it's... That's weird. Anyway, open. Let's see here. Umbrel. Okay. We're gonna paste in our password. We're going to remember me for 7 days, and we're going to log in. And just that quickly and easily, we are logged into our new Pi-hole instance. I wish, though, that it would give us our IP address at some point in here. Oh, hey, right there, 0.201. No, that's weird. I don't know what that is because that's not correct. Web interface, we've got our options there. So basically, super, super easy to install apps. All we've got to do, let's do, oh no, let's not do that. Let's go back to our app store. And then let's scroll back up. Let's take a look at Invoice Ninja. We've talked about Invoice Ninja in the past. I made a couple of videos on it. Let's click install. Right there is our default username and password. That was really, really quick. So I really do appreciate that.
A few moments later.
So now we've got our Invoice Ninja. It's admin at exam. So we're gonna click open. We're gonna do admin at, exam. We're gonna paste in our password. We don't have any two-factor authentication set up, but we're gonna go ahead and log in. These credentials do not match our records. That's interesting. Oops. Tell you what, let's do this. Copy. Oops, let's close that. And then we're going to come back over to here, copy, and we're going to paste that in and click login. Yeah, I just screwed that up. That's fine. That happens. So now, of course, we can do like that. Oops. First name is DB. Last name is Tech. And dark mode, always dark mode. Click save. And we're not going to worry about that right now, but there we are. Just that quickly and easily, we were able to install two apps very quickly and easily with just a single click on each one. It very quickly brought up our username and password for both of those. So I love that. I absolutely love how quick and easy that was. What I want to do next is come back to my desktop over here. We're at the App Store. Let's take a look at our settings and just kind of get an idea of what we've got going on. So our storage, we're using 4 gigs out of 2 terabytes. So basically, we've got our full 2 terabytes available. Below that, in fact, we can click on View Usage. We can see that our operating system is taking up most of that at 3.6 gigs. Invoice Ninja is 380 megs. Pi-hole, 18.9 megs, 18.8 megs, whatever. Two-factor authentication, we can turn that on, and it looks like there we can use Authy or Google Authenticator or whatever your TOTP preference is. You can scan this and enable two-factor authentication that way. We can change our name, our password. We can use a Tor to access this if we wanted to. I don't want to do that right now, though, but you could. Shut down, of course, we can do that. Restart, troubleshoot, migration assistant. You can click that right there to like it says, transfer data from your Raspberry Pi to your Umbrel Home. So I like that that's available. We can check for updates manually. Down here, again, we can see our 1.3 gigs of RAM being used out of 16 gigs overall. And for our usage, let's click this. Our system's using 750 megs. Invoice Ninja is using 447 megs, and Pi-hole is using 49.7 megs. So I love that it breaks it down by application. I wish more systems did that and looked this good and clean. So I really do dig that. Let's come back to our homepage. And hey, look, now that we have some apps installed, it's showing them here. So if I ever want to, I can just click that. Pops it open in our new window here. And there we go. And it's, of course, all of this is running on HTTP. It's not HTTPS. So if you wanted to go ahead and do that and add an SSL to these, I believe that what you would want to do is actually get something like a reverse proxy installed, whether that's Traffic or Nginx Proxy Manager, or if you've been watching this channel for a while, you know that I like to use not my brain, because I really should have been doing this. So yeah, you want your reverse proxy again, whether that's Nginx Proxy Manager, Traffic, or I like to use Cloudflare tunnels. You could probably get any of those installed on here. So I think the one problem that we're going to have here is if we come back to our desktop and we look, let's actually close these. So here we are. If we click Invoice Ninja, it's going to take us to umbrel.local and this port number. And if we go to Pi-hole, it's going to be umbrel.local and that port number. So I don't know that there's any way to, let's see, let's go in here. I can delete or I can open, and those seem to be the only options there. I wonder if I go into the App Store and let's do a search for Invoice Ninja. Okay, so there doesn't appear to be any way to manually set a URL for any of the apps that are on here. Honestly, this is a complaint that I've got across the board with a lot of these pre-built solutions. Again, it's something that I've talked about a bit with Casa OS. I'm going to bring it up here with UmbrelOS on the Umbrel Home. If you're going to build a dashboard like this, give us the opportunity to edit the URL, that when we click it, it will open up an actual URL. Don't force us to use the umbrel.local, especially if we want to access this remotely using a reverse proxy. We need to be able to change or have our own URLs associated with each of those different apps. I don't know if there's a way that could be done. I'm sure there is. But that's something that I would really, really like to see applications like this do, is give us the opportunity to add a custom URL to each of our apps so that, when we're over here on our dashboard, whether it's on here, like if I click open here, again, it's going to take me to umbrel.local port number. So we need to be able to have the ability to have this open at, invoice.mydomain.com or, nextcloud.mydomain.com instead of the local address only. We need to have an ability to do that. So I'm going to quit ranting on that. So it seems it was fast to start up. My PC, my PC that I'm using to record this video is like 10 times louder than this. Like even right here, I can't hear it. Like if I put it literally right up next to my ear, I don't even think. Yeah, like it's super quiet. I will give it that. Again, it was fast to start up, which I appreciated. So fast to start up, everything works really, really well. Installing apps, really just one click. That process is brilliant. I love what they've done there. I don't know that they're going to sell a lot of these at $600. I saw this earlier. The price was higher than that. They've brought it down. So I don't know that they're going to sell a lot of them at that price. I do know that they've got to make their money. But maybe this should have been a Kickstarter or something first to do that. But I am a tech YouTuber where I talk about software primarily, hardware every once in a while. I am not a marketing guy. I am not an analytics guy in that regard as far as pricing and that sort of thing. So this is me as a consumer giving my opinion on what I think as far as the price is concerned. Also, again, I wish they'd gone with like an N100. Even an N95 would have been better than an N5105. All of that griping out of the way, though, I'm more impressed with this than I thought I would be. Again, however, I do have some concerns that if Umbrel, the operating system, the company, whatever, ever decides to shut down, this will be like a 6-ounce paperweight. Because again, there's no display out on this. So installing another operating system on it might be a bit more difficult than it necessarily needs to be. And I'm sure they considered that. So I tell you what, let's do this. If you guys want more information on this device, definitely let me know. I would be happy to make more content about it if you're interested. We can take a look at some of the different apps, some of the different configurations. As far as installing a reverse proxy, whether it's Cloudflare or Tailscale, like was already available as an install. Let me know what you'd like to see me do with this within the confines, of course, of UmbrelOS. I'd be happy to make more content and maybe put together a playlist of all of the different things that we can take a look at with UmbrelOS, that sort of thing. So, of course, I'll have links to everything in the description if you want to go pick one of these up for yourself. Again, they've got several different options on how you can buy them as far as payments and that sort of thing. But yeah, I think that kind of covers everything I wanted to on here. I'm gonna keep playing with this in my downtime because I've definitely still got questions. And if you guys have questions, I want to have answers. So again, leave your questions, your comments, whatever, in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear from you. Let me know how your day's going, what your thoughts are on this. Whatever you want to say, leave it in the comment section down below. But I'm going to wrap this up. Thank you for spending a few minutes of your day with me today, and I'll talk to you here real soon.